With the decline of the sawmills, a new industry developed in East Texas. It was a paper mill. Charles H. Hurdy developed the idea of using southern yellow pine to make newsprint. Now, he promoted this idea throughout the South, and three former sawmill owners, Kurth, Henderson, and Temple, decided to create a paper mill. They created Southland Paper Mill, and it was chartered in June 1938. With the paper mill, they started making paper in 1940, and it boosted the economy of Lufkin. So this provided many jobs for people. It boosted the economy in the sense that they had higher paying jobs so they could spend their money more freely. Also, if the population developed as well, because they had to find places for the workers to stay, and residents of Lufkin started to actually rent out rooms because there was hardly any room or housing left for people to stay in. And so the economy boosted a lot with the new paper mill. Now, over the years, the paper mill changed hands and was bought out from Southland. So it was sold to St. Regis, Donahue, Champion, and lastly to Abitibi. Now, in December 2003, the sawmill did close, and with that closing, the economy of Lufkin declined. It took many years to recover, and so it was a big industry here that once it was gone, it hurt Lufkin area for a while. Now, some of the artifacts that we're going to take a look at from the paper mill are here, and so one of the first ones we're going to start with is this paper roll. This is a roll of craft paper that was made in the paper mill. It's the last roll that was made in 2000. And so another artifact that we have is the steam whistle for the factory. This steam whistle signaled shifts and the start of shifts, the ends of shifts, and lunchtime to all the employees. Another nice artifact that we have is the 1956 International truck. This truck was used to check the water wells at the paper mill, and the employees donated it to the museum after refurbishing it. And they painted it yellow and green due to the fact that that was Southland's colors. Now, a couple of interesting facts about the paper mill is they first hired Canadians to come down from Canada to work in the mill. The Canadians had experience working in other paper mills up in Canada, and so they were able to operate the machinery in the mill. And so they had them come down, work in the mill, and teach other Texans how to operate the machinery after a while. There were 3 Texans that did start at the paper mill. They operated the craft paper machine. Another interesting fact is that they hired women in the 1940s after the World War II started. And the reason for that is because all the men who were leaving their jobs, they needed people to still do those jobs. And so women were hired. They did paper quality tests to make sure that the paper that was being made during the 1940s still had a high quality. They were paid 38 cents an hour, as their counterparts, the men, were paid 81 cents an hour. Now, once the war ended, the women actually needed to leave their positions to open up those positions to the men who had been fighting off in the war. Also, another interesting fact is during the war, the sawmill hired German prisoners of war to actually come and work at the mill. So in November 1943, 250 prisoners of war came and started working for the Southland paper mill. They would basically go out and cut trees and work in the wood yard. They were credited 80 cents per hour that they worked, and they were given housing to sleep in by the mill. Once the war ended, the Germans, most of them left. They did have the option of staying, but most of them chose to return to their homes.